Hi there, today on It Is a Keeper, I'm showing you how to make one of my favorite Christmas cookies. I make them every Christmas, Italian ricotta cookies. These are pillowy, soft cookies coated in a lemony glaze. They are absolutely delicious and one of my all-time favorites. Now, before we get started, make sure you click on the subscribe button below so you are notified whenever I share new recipes. And of course, if you like this one, could you give me a thumbs up, please? Okay, so to get started with our Italian ricotta cookies, we're going to start by creaming together some butter and sugar. So I have 2 sticks of butter and some sugar. Now, a lesson I learned a long time ago is that all of my favorite Italian cookies from my family's recipes always make a ton, like a ton. So I know this might seem like a lot of butter and sugar, but this recipe does make a lot of cookies. I'm not lying when I say that. There was one time I made Italian wedding cookies when I was younger, and I always bake late at night. So this was like 10:30 at night, and the recipe called for 7.5 cups of flour. Well, let me tell you how many cookies 7.5 cups of flour makes. It makes a lot. I was up past midnight making these cookies. Not these, but the ones I was doing before. All right, so we're going to mix these until everything gets light and fluffy. Okay, so that is combined and I have thoroughly flung butter and sugar everywhere. So next up, we're going to add some lemon zest to this. And this gives it a nice little brightness that really wakes everything up. So just going to zest this lemon here. And hang on to that lemon because we're going to use the juice later on. You could totally use orange for this too if you wanted to mix it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to get the rest of the zest off there. And now we're going to add the star ingredient, some ricotta cheese. And I like whole milk ricotta for this. I just find that it's creamier and it's just what I like to use. You could try the others if you'd like, but I make this recipe with the whole milk. Perfect. And then we're going to add some vanilla. All right, I'm going to get this combined and then we'll move on. Perfect. So next up, we're going to add eggs and we're going to do them one at a time. We'll add each one in, incorporate it, and then add the next one. Alrighty, now we're going to set this aside. We're going to set the wet ingredients aside while we take a minute to work on our dry ingredients. I'm just going to swap these out. So in this bowl, I have some all-purpose flour, and I'm going to add some baking powder, give it some lift, and just a little bit of salt. And it's dirty, but I'll use it. I'm just going to stir those together into each other. Beautiful. Bring those wet ones back in, and we're going to add our dry ingredients in there. And back to the mixer. Now I'm going to go nice and slow because I have a feeling it's going to go poof all over the place. Okay, this is a very thick batter. So I'm gonna pop the beaters out here and just And I'm going to finish mixing with my spatula just to make sure I get everything off the sides and the bottom and that it's all worked in. You can see how nice and thick this dough is. Gives you an arm workout when you're stirring it and you're working the beater. All right, so we have to let this chill, and just lets the butter just come together again and get nice and firm so that it makes nice cookies. Okay, so I have some chilled dough here, and I have a cookie sheet that I've lined with parchment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm using my trusty cookie scoop. This makes sure that you get perfectly sized cookies every time. And I'm just going to roll them into a ball and place the cookies on the parchment lined sheet. I love using parchment paper whenever I make cookies because nothing sticks. It's perfect. You don't ever have to worry about it. And it makes cleanup a snap too. So this is a really firm dough. It needed that time in the fridge for everything to come together. Okay, so while our ricotta cookies are baking, we're gonna work on the glaze for the top of them. So in this bowl, I just have some powdered sugar, and to this I'm gonna add a little bit of melted butter, because butter makes it better. And then remember that lemon that we zested, not going to waste. We are going to juice it and use that juice to start making our glaze. So I like to use this lemon squeezer, juicer, I don't know what you call it, because it keeps the seeds out. It's a nice and easy way to keep those seeds in one place so you're not getting those into your recipes. You could easily use a small strainer too. All right, so we just need a couple tablespoons, got a nice little pour spout on it. So that's just gonna kick up that lemon flavor from the zest in the cookies. And I'll just pour the rest in there. So about the juice of a lemon. Then to that, we're going to add some vanilla. Now I have a dark brown vanilla. If you use a clear vanilla, your frosting will be a little more clear and white, but mine will just have that small, little bit of a darker tinge to it just because I'm using the darker vanilla. And then to bring everything together, just a little bit of milk. So I'm gonna add this a little bit at a time because remember, we can add more, but we can't take it away. So I just like to see how it comes together. So it's still pretty thick. Every time I make a glaze like this, I always add the liquid very slowly, even if it's the exact amount the recipe calls for, because for whatever reason, I think powdered sugar just kind of has a mind of its own and does what it wants to do. And you could have the most perfect measurements and it doesn't always work out perfectly. So it's coming together, it's super duper thick. Smell the lemon, it's so bright and fresh. Okay, this is coming together nicely. I had to add a little bit more milk to my bowl. Now you don't want it too thin, but you don't want it too thick either because it needs to spread nicely. So I think this might be perfect. And I'll show you the consistency. So you see that consistency? This is about what we're looking for because that's going to frost them beautifully. Now, once the cookies are done baking, we need to let them cool because if we try to put this frosting onto a warm cookie, it's just going to melt all over the place. So you're going to let them cool completely before you start to frost them. Okay, so our cookies are cooled. I transferred them to a cooling rack and I left it on the parchment paper because we're gonna frost these and it's gonna run down, makes cleanup easier. So I'm just going to slide these forward and bring in my frosting. And it's a really simple process. We're just going to take our cookie, flip it upside down, dip it in the frosting. I just do a little twist to get it. You could use a knife if you want to do it, but I don't know, I find this easier. And this is why, this is why we wanted that frosting a little bit thicker so it clings really nicely to the cookies. You could easily add food coloring to the frosting and make them all sorts of colors, whatever your little heart desires. Okay, last one here. Okay, so we're not done yet. We're still gonna make them a little prettier. I have some sprinkles and I'm just going to give each one, while that frosting is nice and wet, give them a coating of some sprinkles. If you're doing these for the holidays, use holiday colors. I'm just using rainbow, and I like the little dots. That's my favorite. All right, and that's it. That's all there is to these delicious Italian ricotta cookies. So I'm gonna take this one. I know it's not dry yet. You wanna let them dry. Oh, the cookie itself is so lemony and they're so pillowy soft, but then you get that extra hit of lemon from the frosting. You guys, it's a keeper. Thanks for watching. You can get the full printable recipe in the video description below. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss a single thing. And check out the rest of my videos where you can find more of my favorite easy recipes and quick tips. I'll see you next time. Bye.